Hello, it's Zutshi here, and in this video I want to share with you what I believe are some of the secrets of the ultra successful property investors who do our year-long Property Mastermind program. Now, I don't know about you, but I always love to take notes. I listen to webinars, I watch training sessions, I take lots of notes down. And I often listen to our top performers who are sharing what they've done at their final workshop. And I've come up with a list of 10 things that most of those truly successful investors all have in common. And I thought it might be useful to share some of those secrets with you. And some of them might be fairly obvious, some of them might not be as obvious, but I think if you implement these in your buy-to-let property investing, I think you're going to be more successful. So the first one on my list, obviously they're all on our mastermind program, they all decided to commit and to invest in themselves. Now, by the way, there's loads of free information on this YouTube channel, lots of free information on my Property Magic podcast. Go and check that out if you haven't yet. But the problem with watching free information is, well, there's lots of it out there. Sometimes it can be a bit overwhelming. And what happens when you come on a paid course is you get everything laid out in a step-by-step system that you can follow. So it actually saves you a lot of time. And at the end of the day, time is your most precious resource. You can always earn more money, but you can't get more time back. And an interesting thing happens, I notice when people come on a course, particularly when people are paid to do some training, because they've paid, because they've invested, they've made an investment and they're more invested in getting success. So when something's free, sometimes you don't value it. Whereas if you've paid a lot of money for something, most people will value that, listen better, take better notes, and thus take more action. So first step is investing in yourself. Then the next thing I've noticed, most really successful people in our mastermind who get results very, very quickly, often it's because they're already investing in property. They've got some properties. And the first thing we teach on mastermind, which you can go and do anyway, is look at your existing property portfolio and work out, is there some way you can optimize that? Can you increase the cash flow from that portfolio? So maybe you've got single lets that maybe aren't making such great money now because of the recent interest rate hikes. Maybe you can turn them into HMOs or serviced accommodation, which should be making at least £1,000 profit per month for you. So can you repurpose existing properties? We've had people who've got HMOs already, and maybe there's a room they're not really using properly, they turn that into a bedroom, and suddenly they add an extra £5,000 or £6,000 profit to that particular property every single year. So first step, what can you do to look at existing properties that you can maybe repurpose? Now you might be sitting watching this video thinking, well, I don't have any properties yet. Well, maybe you've got family members or friends who have properties and they're not utilizing them or they're not renting them out properly. Maybe you could take those on as rent to rent, or even better, purchase this option, start getting cash flow from properties that you don't even own. So think about your properties and other people around you who you know what properties could be repurposed and such that the profitability is increased on a monthly basis. The next thing is the truly successful people are always open-minded. You've got to be very careful about not making assumptions, particularly when you're speaking to motivated sellers. Don't think you know what they want. You've got to ask them great questions, listen carefully to what they say, and hopefully come up with an ethical win-win solution. So be very careful about making assumptions and judgments, which all of us make as human nature. Next thing is, a mistake I see people make is they find a great deal and they spend a long time working on that particular, months and months and months working on that deal. And sometimes deals don't work, they fall over. And if you've been focusing on one deal and then it doesn't work, or even it does work, suddenly you're back to square one. You've got to go back to looking for leads and speaking to people. Whereas if you can have a pipeline of deals at different stages, what it means is if a deal falls over, well, it doesn't matter because I've got another one just ready to go. It also means you can avoid becoming what's called a motivated buyer. Sometimes people are so desperate to get a deal, they almost do any deal. Well, if you've got lots to choose from, that's not going to happen. So really important to have that pipeline of deals. That leads very nicely to my next point. And this is something I've shared on these YouTube videos before, but maybe you have picked it up, maybe not. And that's that when you first speak to a seller, when you make an offer, usually they're going to say no. And in fact, we want them to say no. If you make an offer to someone and they say yes, it means you offered too much. So we kind of want them to say no. But here's the point. We then need to follow up and we say, okay, if that didn't work, well, what would work for you? And hopefully we can negotiate, come up with some deal, but maybe, we're not close enough yet. So we put it into a follow-up system to make sure that in a month's time, we can reach out to that person and say, hey, how are you doing? What's happening with the property? You're still looking to sell, etc. Because in a month's time, or 3 months, or 6 months, or 12 months, their circumstances might have changed, or our circumstances might have changed, that maybe we can now do the deal. So rather than speaking to someone, getting a no, then just leaving it, make sure you follow up. And some of those properties are going to be sold and you're going to miss out, but some of them, they're not going to sell, and the seller's going to become more and more motivated with time. So follow up is really important. All successful people do that. The next concept, and you've heard of this before, often known as BRRR, or what we call momentum investing. You buy a property, ideally below market value. It's something that needs some work doing to it. You spend some money on it, improving the value, but the money you spend is less than the value you create. So then you go and remortgage the property 6 to 9 months later, based on the higher value, you get a 75% mortgage. Hopefully that's enough to replace your deposit and most of the money you put in initially. So our truly successful clients, they're not just doing one property, they've got a pipeline of deals and they're recycling the money from one deal to go back into the next deal. That can be your money, it could be other people's borrowed money, doesn't really matter, but look at recycling so you can quickly build your portfolio. The next thing is using creative finance. And there's such a big topic, creative finance. I'll just give you a couple of examples. So most people at some point run out of their own money. So if you can get good at using other people's money, whether it's private loans or joint ventures, you're going to be able to do a lot more deals. But there are some deals that don't actually need a lot of money. So you can use strategies such as rent to rent, where you take someone's property on, you get a rental income from it, and then you give it back 3 to 5 years later. Better than rent to rent is a purchase lease option. Very similar, you take it on, you give them a guaranteed rent, you rent it for more, you make a margin, a profit on the property every single month. And then as it's an option, you've got the right to buy that property at some time in the future. Hopefully the value goes up. So as well as getting cash flow, you get equity growth on a property that you don't even own. You haven't had to put a deposit in, you haven't had to get a mortgage. It's a great strategy and it's perfect for the falling market that we're in right now. Next thing else, I'll talk about think big. All of the people who've done our training, who've done really, really well, they've set really huge goals, sometimes really crazy big goals, and they've not known how to do it. But that's the point when you're doing goal setting. Don't worry about the how, think about the what. What do you actually want to achieve? Set that big goal and then work out the plan, work backwards. How are you going to achieve it? One of my mentors, Tony Robbins, who I've learned a huge amount from over the years, he has a great saying, which is, what would you do if you could not fail? Because very often we set goals, but we limit our goals based on our own beliefs and what we could or couldn't do. But what if you couldn't fail? What would you go and strive for? It's a great way of when you're thinking about your goals. Next on the list is, have accountability. Obviously on our mastermind program, all of our students, they have an accountability coach, someone who's done the mastermind program, who's been incredibly successful themselves. They're far more successful than the students. They provide 2 calls a month so they can bounce deals off people, they can check they're doing the things they need to do. And look, half the time we know what we should be doing, we just don't get around to doing it. So accountability is really, really important. And finally, number 10, surprise, surprise, all the really successful investors, guess what? They're action takers. It's great learning, building your knowledge, but you need to actually implement what you are learning. And they seize opportunity. So for example, let's say they're walking down the street and they see a property that looks interesting. They don't think, oh, I should do something about that. No, they pick their phone up, they call the agent there and then to see if they can arrange an appointment. And even if it's not a suitable property, it's a great excuse just to have a chat with that agent. So you need to start taking more action. No matter what you're doing, I'm pretty sure you can step up the level of activity. The more activity you do, doing the right stuff, is going to result in you getting much better results. So those are 10 of the common traits that some of our most successful investors, all of them use. Some of them you'll know, some of them are obvious, maybe some of them not so obvious. So I really encourage you, if you can implement as many of those success traits into your property investing, you're going to become a more successful investor. I do hope that was useful. If you can like the video, that would be great for me because more people will see the video and hopefully like it as well. If you haven't subscribed to this YouTube channel, I highly recommend you do that, and make sure you hit the bell icon so whenever a new video comes up, you're notified, because some of them are very timely videos videos that have time-sensitive opportunities. So it's really important that you watch them at the relevant time. And finally, I'm actually doing a live webcast from the final workshop of my next mastermind program. It's coming up very soon. It's an opportunity for you to hear from their own words, their own mouths, some of our most successful students, exactly what they've done and how they've done it over the last 10 months to achieve life-changing results. It's a great way to build your belief of what you can achieve, but also learn exactly what our most successful students have done, exactly how they've done it. It's completely free of charge. It's an inspirational hour and a half. All you have to do is click on the link below to come and register for that and come and be inspired and be motivated so you can get out there and make the rest of the year one of your best times yet. So that's my gift to you. I encourage you to take that, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Invest with knowledge, invest with skill. Hello, it's Simon here. I do hope you enjoyed watching that YouTube video and got lots of value from it. However, I want to help inspire you to show you exactly what you can achieve. So I've got an incredible opportunity. Every 6 months, we open the doors behind our Property Mastermind program, and we, at the very last workshop, get some of the people who've done the best to stand up and share with their peers exactly what they've done and how they've done it. It's always incredibly inspirational, and you get to learn exactly what our most successful students have done. Now, that's normally just for people within the mastermind group, but we're going to open up the doors and let you join us on a live webcast so you can see yourself exactly what you could achieve when you get the right knowledge, support, and mindset. So if you want to come on board and have a look at this completely free of charge, just click on the link below, come and secure your place so you can join us live online to be inspired and build your belief about what's possible with your property investing. So click on the link below, reserve your place. I look forward to seeing you live online.